Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Shalee.
And this is GottaSing.com.
Your online vocal resource.
Okay, so in the last lesson we talked about coming in and presenting yourself. We're going to teach you today how to have a focal point. When you sing, sometimes you want to look at your audience. If you're actually in a show and the audience is out there, you want to be looking at your audience singing your stuff. But in an audition situation, you usually want to look above the heads of the judges, because if you're looking at them the whole time, it starts to make people nervous if you're staring in their eyes. You want to look just above them, because that gives them a chance to look at you and to be able to judge you at an audition in an audition situation. So we're going to teach you how to have a focal point, and Shalee's going to be the guinea pig for this. So what you do is, after you announce your name, hello, my name is David, and I will sing Amazing Grace. We're going to use that song today. Amazing Grace. You want to put your head down for a minute, just to prepare for just 1 second, and then bring your head up. And when you look up, be above the judges, just a tad when you're in this situation. When you're announcing your name, go ahead and look at the judges, right. Put your head down, and then come up just barely above their head so you can focus on the back. We call this a focal point. All right? And then you're going to pick a spot on the back of the wall, and you're going to look at that spot, and you're going to tell your story to that spot. Now, if your eyes are darting all around when you're doing this, they're wondering what you're looking at, what you're doing. So you don't want to do that. You want to have your eyes focused right above them and in one spot.
It doesn't allow them to get into the character or it doesn't allow you to get into the character if you're all over the place. And we'll do a demonstration of that.
Okay, so go ahead and sing Amazing Grace and do it wrong. Okay. Actually introduce yourself. Do everything wrong. Introduce yourself and everything.
Hi, I'm Shalee Schmidt, and
I'll be performing for you.
I'll be performing for you Amazing Grace.
We have seen this. This is not this is not made up. We've seen this a lot. All right, so.
How is that? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that...
Okay, good. So, looks very insecure, like you don't know what you're doing. I know this character would probably want to work and probably want the job, but doesn't have the skills to do it. So now do it right, do it with confidence and all that stuff.
Hi, I'm Shalee Schmidt, and I will sing Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
Good. So the more story you can have in your eyes, the more connection you can have with your audience, the better the performance will be. That announcement was very confident. The singing was good. The focal point was good. It's all about the focal point. Where are you looking when you're singing? The eyes aren't darting around. They're in one spot. Focal point, focal point, focal point. Practice this. Get in your mirror, and actually when you're practicing in a mirror, you can look at yourself in the mirror and make sure, look at the tip of your nose when you're singing, and make sure you're looking at one spot and your eyes aren't darting around. That's a super big thing. The second part of it is, after you get this part of it set, make sure that your hands aren't being all jittery and like people...
I used to have a claw.
Yeah.
That it would just kind of twitch, and I didn't know that I was doing it. So one thing that we teach students is, if they have hand things that they do, is to touch the seams of their pants and just kind of hold their shoulders back and stand there for a while until they get comfortable with wherever their hands are. Now, if you feel like there's a motivated movement, make sure it's not this. We call this W arms. Make sure it's not just halfway, because it doesn't look committed. So if there is a motivated movement and you need to have something, do it. But otherwise, it's best to just stay still. There's another thing with staying still, is that you allow all the energy to go to the voice and to your breathing. If you're constantly moving and stuff, guess where all the energy is going? To your extremities, and it's not going to the mechanism.
Yeah, and if you're playing with your skirt or your pants while you're auditioning, the judges are going to be like, what's wrong with her? What's going on, or him? What's going on? Why are they playing with their pants like that? Whereas if the face is engaging and everything else is still, you've got the intention in the face, and then they're watching your performance.
Right.
Because acting happens here. It doesn't happen in hands. People always come to us for a coaching for something, and they'll say, what do I do with my hands here? And I'm like, you don't need to do anything with your hands if your face is telling the story. And hand movement can emphasize something, but you don't need it.
Right.
If your storytelling is happening in the face, that's how we communicate. We don't communicate like this.
I do.
Yeah, Shalee does use her hands a lot.
So do you.
I do, actually. But really the communication is happening in the face, and that's where you want the song to happen. In a nice A motivated hand movement is always wonderful. It's a good thing to do. But really make sure that it's the face that's really doing something. Take some acting classes. Learn how to be in front of people and act a story or a song. It really helps.
Something else that helps is taking dance or taking movement classes, Alexander technique, etc. It is so important to know exactly what your body is capable of, what it does, what do you do when you're nervous, and how to overcome those things. And it helps calm down the body. Also, I like yoga just because of the breathing technique, and it's so similar to the actual singer's breath that it's nice to engage that part that helps reduce the nerves.
Yeah, and if you're doing yoga or Pilates or exercising, always remember that you are a singer and do your singer's breath from DVD 1. While you're doing that, it'll help make that breath a little bit deeper.
Right.
All right, so let's just recap really quick. Find a focal point to tell your story to while you're singing. Have a motivated hand movement that is not over, in one song, maybe 2 or 3 hand movements, not 10 of the same thing. And
avoid indication gesturing. Okay, my heart, I give to you.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is so elementary and so just amateur. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, indication gesturing. When you point to yourself, I am doing this in my song. We don't need to know that. We know who you are. So if you did, even like if you opened yourself up and said I, like this, that opens yourself up to the audience as well, which is so much better than closing it off with an indication gesture like I, like this.
There's one other thing that kind of exposes you as amateur or professional. It's when we lean towards the audience because we just want them to understand it. It's more important. I don't know if you've been in close proximity to somebody and you're talking to them and you notice if they get closer to you, you kind of move back. Well, it's the same thing with your audience, that if you're moving here towards them, generally they're going to move back. It's just a natural phenomenon of nature, and you don't want to burst each other's bubble. So it's important to stay in a stance that is upright and maybe even just a little bit back so that you're pulling the audience to you, that you're not out here just trying to get their attention and be forceful about whatever point you're trying to make. Be here, be still, breathe, have a focal point.
What else did we say? Was that it?
Pretty much.
Okay, focal point. Good. So, concentration, confidence, focal point, own the stage, and you'll have it.
Well, if you have any questions about performance issues or singing issues, please let us know.
All right, we'll see ya.
My time to sing.